So the most important question for everybody who starts Apex new is, of course, which class to choose or which weapon is good. But the most important, in my opinion, is simply where do I find the good loot at the beginning of the round. Simply because it doesn't matter which class you are running. If you have the bad weapon or if you don't have enough stuff, then you will lose every battle. So here's a map. Simply, this is what you need to know. The purple areas are the areas with the best loot you can find, or at least with the highest chance for good loot. And the blue areas are the ones where you have at least a very fair chance for mid-tier items, sometimes even high-tier items. But not all of the purple areas are as good as the others. And this is because in some areas the spawns are more dense, which means you don't need to run so far or so long to go from one spawn to the next one. So I want to show you today the best spawns that you need to know, or on the other hand, which spawns to avoid. Before we start with this, just one advice. As a beginner, it's not so helpful to jump directly into the crowd with all the others, because you don't know sometimes which weapon is better than the other one, or you need a few more seconds to choose what to drop, where to drop on, and stuff like this. So I recommend at the beginning, start at the edges of the map so you get used to the system, and once you know exactly what to take, when to take, and how to change items extremely fast, that's the point where you start in the middle and you start with intense fights at the beginning. So let's start with the bad areas. The pit and the bunker. They are only interesting for you if you are running solo, because they don't have enough loot for a 3-person team, which means everybody gets a weapon, but basically that's it. You don't have enough other stuff, and the good stuff for the other areas is not near enough. So I recommend, if you run with a full team, don't go there. The other one, water treatment. You have only one building with very dense spots, that's good, but if you leave that area, you have to run pretty far to get the next good spots. So that's not a good start point. The other area that is maybe not good for a start is Thunderdome. And this is simply because Thunderdome itself has a lot of spots with high tier loot, which you can see from a far distance, but the spots are not so dense and they are not enough for a 3-person team. So when you cleared Thunderdome, you have to go to one of the areas around it. So if you go to the 2 areas, this one or this one, then you have the problem that they still don't have enough stuff for a 3-person team. So you need to run to every single building. You lose a lot of time when you do this. So most people run from the Thunderdome directly to Skulltown, which then is not a good idea, because in Skulltown many people drop basically on every single round. At least one team is in Skulltown directly at the beginning. When you start in Thunderdome, run into Skulltown, then you will have the bad position because they expect you coming from the Thunderdome and they have more loot spots than you had in Thunderdome. So it's very likely that they are better equipped when you reach that town. So the question now is, what are the good spots that you should start as a beginner? So if you are a beginner, you maybe should first of all get to the areas where you get good stuff, but where you don't have to fight from the first second. If you're an advanced player, if you know the game mechanics and stuff like this, of course you don't need my advice on this one. You just need this map. In the description there is a link where you can find this map, and then you can make all your choices based on how much fights you want, how long you want to survive, how good you think you are against all the other players and stuff like this. So we don't need to talk about this. This is what comes now is not for advanced players. It's just for the beginners. If you like this video, if you hate it, if you think it was helpful, if you think that was a total crap and a waste of time, I would like to ask you to share your thoughts, especially if you have critics. Please do it in the comments. Tell me exactly what you would like to see differently with the next videos, or which other topics you want me to cover for the next videos.